ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुसम्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति सपदान्तिकं। वन्देकं श्रीगुरो श्रीदपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवां च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरंगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावलेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके bhaktir naistiki. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam is the very means of conquest. One should offer respectful obeisance unto the personality of God Narayana, unto Narayana, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, by regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service to the pure devotees. All that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of God, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Unta Pravishram Mamache Mahaprasuptam Sanjeevayati Akila Shakti Darasvadamna Anyam Sahasra Charana Shramanattu Gadi Prana Namo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam Tasmadaham Viklava Ishvarasya Sarvatmana Mai Grinami Yatha Manisha Nicho Jaya Gunam Sarga Anupravishta Uyeta Yena Yipvan Anumanitena. Vishnu Namaste. Namaste. Saraswati Devi Gaurang Channel Visheshunal Pashiyadi. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. We are reading from 1:7:22 and 23. So, we have already discussed the purport and all. Just we will read the verse once. Huh? Arjuna Vacha Krishna Krishna Mahabaho Bhaktanam Abhiyankara Tumeko Dakyamanana Apavargogi Shamshute. Arjuna said, oh my Lord Krishna, you are the Almighty Personality of God. There is no limit to your different energies. Therefore, only you are sinlessness in the hearts of your devotees. Everyone in the flames of material existence can find the path of liberation in you. Text 23. Tomadya Purusha Shakshat Ishvara Prakate Paraha Mayam Yudasya Chit Shakya Kevalya Sthite Atmani. You are the original personality of Godhead who accepts all over the creations and is transcendental to material energy. You have cast away the effects of material energy by the dint of your spiritual potency. You are always situated in eternal bliss and transcendental knowledge. Hare Krishna. Prabhu, can you put that? So,
Yeah.
okay, we were discussing that this verse was spoken by Arjuna because you know that he was Ashwatthama killed the five Pandavas. We know that. I'll briefly tell. Ashwatthama killed the five Upa Pandavas. Actually, he wants to kill the Pandavas because he saw Duryodhana was lying in the pool of blood. So he wants to take revenge. And because he was born, and even Drona, even though he is a Brahmana, but he has cultivated the habits of Kshatriya, so he has inculcated become a Kshatriya. And therefore, Ashwatthama is the beginning of Brahmana, a qualified Brahmana being merciful to other living entities. Karuna, instead of the instead of being being Ushadashaya, narrow-minded, he wants to take revenge because his father has been killed, and also Duryodhana is lying in the pool of blood. Who is the source of income for them? Who is the source of maintenance for them? So he wants to take revenge and he wants to kill the five Pandavas. But Krishna's arrangement, they killed the five Upa Pandavas. Upa Pandavas means the sons of Pandu. They were all killed by Krishna's arrangement. Because of that, they were killed. So once those people were killed by those 5 children were killed. So Draupadi Mata could not tolerate. Putra Shokam is very heavy, and then she is pleading, "Why I am suffering like this?" And that time Arjuna takes a vow that I will kill this Ashwatthama and bring his head, and then afterwards, with the blood, you just do the final rites for your children. So he goes and chases Ashwatthama. Ashwatthama also goes in the chariot, but Arjuna's chariot was very powerful, and he was able to chase almost Ashwatthama. Ashwatthama, out of fear, he got down from the chariot because his chariot was not running fast. Because Arjuna's chariot is divine chariots given by Agni with the horses. The horses are also divine. They are very powerful, and they can be without water, without anything for long days. So they are in battle also. So every day they were so powerful, and they never get. Krishna used to clean the horses and all in the horse stable. So Arjuna could almost capture Ashwatthama. Ashwatthama afraid. Because he doesn't know, because he was a Kshatriya, but he was being favored by his father. Father told him that I will not teach you Brahmastra because you don't have tapasya and you don't have control of yourself. Danta. Tapasya and Danta is missing, so I cannot give you. But however, because of its natural affection, just like Dhritarashtra has got affection for his Duryodhana, the same way Durona has got weakness for his son, and that's why the whole battle also, they said Aswathama Ataha Kunjara. They kill the elephant Aswathama, and they tell that Aswathama is killed. Then he loses the battle. He loses interest in the battle. Otherwise, he was killing so many soldiers. In one day, he was slaughtering more than 40,000 soldiers. So Dronacharya, the Ashwatthama, so what has happened? He said that I cannot teach you because of this. But however, he was insisting, and because of the weakness of Dronacharya towards his son, he taught him this Brahmastra, but I will teach you how to use it, but not how to withdraw it. So he uses the weapon and he touches the water and issues the Brahma. The Brahmastra is engulfing the entire place. At the time, Arjuna, being a devotee of the Lord, he doesn't get perturbed because this material situation is not conducive. It is a dangerous situation. If the death is chasing, because this nuclear weapon, Brahmastra, is so powerful that it will not kill all the other people, just like Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where it killed so many people and the people, innocent people were dying. But here it is targeting only Arjuna. Arjuna is going to be killed. So Arjuna knew that the entire place is lit with fire. A huge ball of fire is coming and chasing him. And therefore, he was very conscious of Krishna. And Krishna is instructed in Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Ma Anusmana Idyacha. Because he told him to remember Krishna at the time. And then he remembered just like Gajendra also remembered. So we went through that quickly. Prabhu, can you go to that presentation, Prabhu? Anu Prabhu?
Yes,
or I will do that.
I'm sharing that presentation.
Yeah. Before that, you go. Before that. Yeah.
Before that. Okay.
Before, yeah. So before that, yeah. Before that. Yeah. Actually, here you have to change 8 points. Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Manasmana Idyacha Mayarpita Mano Buddhir Human Bhaktas Asamshaya. So Krishna says that you have to remember me and fight. So immediately Arjuna could remember Krishna very nicely, and then he was remembering Krishna. And therefore, whenever we are in difficulty or in any circumstances, we should always remember Krishna and then do the activity. And that is what is very important in the bhakti. So because he was remembering Krishna, and then I think it is Bhagavatam, Prabhu. 8:7, sorry, Bhagavad Gita, correct. 8:7. Yes, this is the verse. Yeah, this is the verse. So Mayarpita Mano Buddhir Mame Vashriya Samshaya. And there is no doubt. So Arjuna, being pure devotee of the Lord, Bhaktos Ime Saka Jeti, he remembered Arjuna, he remembered Krishna. That's why we have to cultivate this habit of remembering Krishna in all circumstances, in all activities. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita also, Yet Karoshi, Yadasnadi, Yaddoshi, Tadasyat. 9:27 of Bhagavad Gita. Yet Tapasya Kaundayam, Tat Kurishma Tarpanam. Should all to be offered and we have to remember. And Arjuna is completely competent to withdraw this Brahmastra, and he knows that the Brahmastra is coming from Ashwatthama. He need not take shelter of Krishna, but being a devotee of the Lord, even though he is capable, is skillful, And because he in the Virata war, he killed so many soldiers, and he was able to kill even he was able to defeat even Bhishma, Drona, Karna, all these people. So still he has got the power, but he didn't exercise the power because he was remembering, and that's why he is telling about Krishna Krishna Mahabaho. Mahabaho means what is the word? Mahabaho means Almighty. He who is Almighty. You can only give me power. So he was remembering Krishna very nicely that you give me the power, Mahabaho. You empower me to withdraw this because that is very important. So you empower me, Mahabaho. So you empower me to withdraw them. And then he says that, and then we remember that the same thing happened for the Gajendra. Gajendra was also in difficulty when he was caught by the crocodile. And then he remember. Can you go to the presentation? Itam Gajendra Sadhyapa Sankatan Pranas Dehi Vivashu Durchaya. Aparayan Atma Vimokshanam Dadyav Mam Buddhi Adabi Patita. He says, yes, before that, yeah, before, yeah, before. Yes. Itam Gajendra Satyapasana. So he remembers extremely afraid that the crocodile has caught him. At the time also, he came to the right decision that I have to take shelter of Krishna. Paramparayanam. I have to take shelter of all the shelters, which is Krishna. Demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Indra, and Lord Brahma, Shiva takes shelter of Krishna. I Paramparayanam I will take because my wife I cannot depend, my sons and relatives, nobody can help me because I was caught with the crocodile. So Gajendra also comes to the remembers Krishna. So whenever in difficulty or in all circumstances, we should remember Krishna. And that's why we saw the verse, next verse, next, Smartavyam, yes. Smartavya Sataram Vishnu, Vismatutena Jadusit. Sarva Vide Nishedo. That means Krishna is the original of Lord Vishnu. He should always be remembered, never forget Krishna. You should always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. All the rules and prohibitions mentioned in Tantra should be servants of these two principles. And this should be the main principle. That's what we saw in the last week. And then we saw the word Abhayankara means fear. Next slide you go for. There are two types of fear. One is desirable fear, one is undesirable. In the desirable fear, we saw that there's like a small child running rapidly and then hits somewhere in the head and then it has to be stitched and then it gets, and that's why we have to create fear in the child. Because if it goes round like anything, if you go very fast, you will fall down and you will injure and you have to do stitches and you have to suffer the pain. So we have to tell that is a desirable fear. And also we say the desirable fear from the Jantur Vacha, that how the living entity was suffering in the womb. Bahudukka Vasham, even though it is suffering so much in the blood of urine and stool, and it's being burnt by the so many insects, but Nirjagam say, Bhagiranda Gopa, I don't want to come out. And then Utro Payatam, Upasarpati, even I am captured by Mahamaya. What is that? Mahamaya captures and put me in the blind well of this material existence. And not only that, Mithya Matir, identification. This is my Chitapa, this is my Chachi, this is my Chacha, identification. And then Samshruti, and then put him in the Bhatala cycle. So that's why. And then next we saw the Devaki Mata was fear of the material existence, and that we saw the purport also. Now that we finished, now the desirable. Now we go to the undesirable fear, which is very important for us. Now we go to the undesirable fear. So Bhartrihari is a great king. He has written so many Shatakam. Shatakam means 100 verses. So first, when he was young, he wrote verses on Shringar, maybe on the basis of sex. He wrote 100 verses on Sanskrit. And then when he became old, he became very understood and became very mature. At that time, he wrote this Vairagya Shatakam, 100 verses on Vairagya. And then he wrote one more Shatakam, which is called Niti Shatakam, which is for moral code of conduct. So that is also 100 verses he wrote. And this verse was taken by my Maharaj. This talks about this Abhayam, Bayam, which means fear, eradicating fear. So we will see what is the root, what are the 9 types of fear and how we can get rid of this fear. That is also mentioned in the same verse. Roge roga bayam kule chuti bayam vitte palad bayam mane dainya bayam baler bayam rupe jaraya bayam shastre vadi bayam gune kalabayam kaye kritanad bayam sarvam vattu bayan vitam muvinam vairagyame bayam. So here, okay. So here, first, what we say? Bhoge roga bhayam. Suppose you take 2 rasagullas, 3 rasagullas, 4 rasagullas. If you take more than 6 rasagullas, then you are afraid I'll get sugar. Then I will have a problem in my body and I'll have indigestion. So we are afraid, especially after the Deepavali sweets. So many sweets we take and then we have loose motion and then we go to the doctor. Bhoge roga bhayam. Roga bhayam means we are always afraid that because of the old fear of enjoyment in the sensual pleasure means whatever senses we want to enjoy. So bhoge roga bhayam. And then kule chuti bhayam. Bhoge roga bhayam even suppose we have 3, 4 children, we want to have the fifth children, we want to enjoy, but we are afraid the other children will come and how to maintain, we are worried. That is also bhoge roga bhayam. And then kule chuti bhayam. Kule chuti bhayam means it is because of the kula. That means we are Agarwal, we are Trivedi, Chaturvedi, so many things we keep. And then we are Tendulkar, we are Gavaskar, so many things are there. So we identify with the Kula. And therefore, what is happening is in this material world, this Kula is so much, the caste system is so much in prevalent in India now that because one girl marries another caste community, sometimes both the girl and the boy are killed because the father kills her. He says he wants to kill. This is the highest level because they are afraid that their kula is getting destroyed, and especially they marry the lower caste, and they marry now intercaste marriage, interreligion marriage also there. I will tell you a classic example happened in my case. Actually, there was a girl working under me. She's a Christian, but unfortunately, she married a Christian, but she married a Hindu, and that Hindu, both of them were studying MBA in India, and they got married. And but basically, she is from she was her father is doing a business in Abu Dhabi. So what has happened? She is joined my company, and then she was married. And then after the marriage, you won't believe it. The father said, "Don't enter my house." Till today, almost 10 years now, marriage, she cannot enter the house of her house. She cannot enter because father said, "I don't have any relationship. My daughter is dead because she married a Hindu. She is dead because of the Kule Chuti Bhayam." So, and you won't believe it now. This girl is suffering now because this fellow was so much loyal these 10 years. Suddenly, he wants to divert and get an attraction with another girl. So this is a problem and big problem. And then she is suffering. And in fact, she is writing to me like my brother, and I'm counseling her not to take any extreme step. So she is frustrated because she doesn't have shelter to take father, or she can because Kule Chuti Bhai. Just because what is the problem? Married. What to do now? We have to accept it. And this acceptance is the main problem. The whole Krishna consciousness is acceptance because accepting anything which is beyond our control, we cannot do anything. We have advised them not to marry, but they are married. What to do? We cannot ignore our children. So this is what has happened. Kule Chuti Bhayam. And then um, Vitte Nepalat Bhayam. Vitte Nepalat Bhayam is a very, very important point. That means we are always worried about our funds in the bank deposit. What will happen to the bank? What will happen to the deposit? Now Lakshmi Vilas Bank is closing. Yes Bank is in trouble. Then UTI Bank is in trouble. Axis Bank is in trouble. So we are always worried. What will happen to our deposit? What will happen to your funds in the share market? Because of Corona, we are always worried. And I will tell you a small funny story. So about person who is so miser in getting money. So that story will be understand this with Nepalat Bhayam. Nepalat Bhayam means we are worried the money will go. So there was one miser. Actually, he was having a family. He was in Kashi near Varanasi. So he was staying there, and then he was with his family and with his father. Suddenly, his father died. The moment the father died, so what he did, he uh, he want to do the final rites. But if he calls the Brahmanas, then they will charge you more money. So he was worried why the money has to be spent. So he takes 2 wooden stakes and then he prepares yeah, with the coconut leaves on his own. He makes and then he ties his father's body in that, and he tells his wife that I will go to the Ganga and put in the Ganga because he will be purified and I don't have to spend any money. So no money to be spent for his father's. So he takes the body and then he goes. When he goes halfway through, Krishna sees that I want to help this person. He's the most miserly person. But anyway, I want to deal. I want to make him give some money. So he said that, okay, let him go. So Krishna comes. It is only a story. Yeah? It has not happened. It is not any history. So he goes there and approaches this miserly fellow. And the miserly fellow says, um, the Lord Krishna and the Brahmana, in the form of a Brahmana, disguised as a Brahmana. He comes as a Brahmana and he asks them, can I do the final rites for your father? No need. I will put it in the gun. No, I will do for you. You give me a small amount. I don't want big amount from you. So that, because the body is burned, the body has to be burned as per Hindu Shastras, Sanatana Dharma. It should not be put there like this. You should not put bury or something. Please, we have to do some Vedic rituals for this departure. Otherwise, you will not have good. He was thinking for some time. Yes, okay. He said, give me 3,000 rupees. He said, 3,000 is too much. I cannot afford. He is having a very good business. He was having crores of rupees, but he doesn't want to give 3,000 rupees. Give me 1,000 too much. 500 too much. 250 too much. 100 too much. 50 rupees too much, he says. And then 25 rupees, no. Then 10 rupees, no. Then he agreed. 5 rupees also too much for me. I cannot give. Then finally he said, you give me 1 rupee 25 paise. 1 rupee 25 paise? That is okay for me? Yes, he said okay. So 1 rupee 25 paise was fixed, and he said, I will give you. So the Brahmana arranges the firewood and everything, and he did the smashan ghat, and he did all the sacrifices, what is required for the father. Everything was done. Once the cremation is over, then the Brahmana, the form of Krishna, approached this miser and asked him, please give me my dakshina, 1 rupee 25 paise. He said, now I am so much depressed. Just now I did the final rites, my father. I am so depressed, I cannot give. You come after 13 days. I cannot give now dakshina anything. You come after 13 days, I will give you. So then he left home, and this miser came home. After that, 30 days over, again the Brahmana wants to take Krishna. The form of Brahmana comes and knocks at the door. The moment he knocks at the door, he sees from the bedroom, he saw that this Brahmana has come for the 1 rupee 25 paise. So he was so afraid not to give this 1 rupee 25. He was so much miser. He told his wife, you tell him that I have gone out for some business. I will come after 4 days. You let him come after 4 days. You tell him I'm not there. Basically, he doesn't want to pay the 1 rupee 25 paise. So he tells them, and then his wife goes and tells the Brahmana. He says, okay, no Brahmana, I will come out in 4 days. But Krishna was also determined that he wants to collect money from him. So, and then after 4 days he comes. He thought that this fellow will not come because indirectly he's telling not to ask money. But however, Krishna was insisting to teach him a lesson and come. So Krishna comes and knocks the door. And this time he doesn't know what to do. He says the only way out, he's taking extreme just for 1 rupee 25 paise. He said, I will appear as dead. You just put me in you put me in the room, in the bed, that I am dead. Put me down on the floor, that I am dead. That is the best way. And therefore, you put me on the floor and I will appear as that. I will hold my breath. And then, and you go, and he told his wife, you go and tell, you just break all the bangles and also remove your kumkum in your forehead and then go and crying, saying that your husband is dead. You go and tell, and then he will not ask the money. So he goes and tells her. The moment he goes and tells that, Brahmana said, don't worry, madam, I agree that you are suffering. I will do the final rites for your husband also. So he prepares 2 logs of wood and also prepares the coconut leaves as a mat, and then prepares and then puts him on that, and then he ties the ropes, and then he takes this body to the smashan ghat. And then what happens? He prepares a firewood, and then he keeps the body on the top of the fire. And then he goes and gets the fire. To get the fire, he is going and getting the fire and to burn. So he is getting the matchstick to get the fire. In the meantime, when Krishna was doing that, he came near the fire, the funeral pyre. Then this fellow knows that now he is going to be burned. He is very much afraid. So he breaks open tear open the ropes and started running because just the fear of 1 rupee 25. So he runs away, and then immediately Krishna somehow or other catches him. And Krishna was so much amused and astonished that this fellow doesn't want the part to burn 1 rupee 25 paise. He says, I'm very, very happy with you that I have become I cannot see a person like you. So you tell me because I'm very happy with you, I want to give you some benediction. What is the benediction you want? He says, don't ask me this 1 rupee 25 paise. Don't ask me that money. So this is how the matter is finished, and he didn't give, and he couldn't. So but we have to understand, our Maharaj says very nicely from one of the verse, he says, Dhanam Bhoga Nasha Tishto Gatayo Bhavanti Vittasya Yo Nada Datati Na Bhukte Tasya Tritiya Gadir Bhavaha. Bhavaha means Dhanam Bhoga. Dhanam means whatever money we have in the bank. Bhoga. Dhanam means it has to be given as charity. Bhoga means we have to enjoy. And Nashaha, or otherwise it will be destroyed. These things, Tisro Gatayo Bhavanti Vittasya. Vittasya means our wealth. This we have to understand that the moment whether we give dana, charity to the ISKCON, or we use it for our own selves. Otherwise, this will go on Nasha because our children will squander, the bank will take it away, they will say Hari Bol. So our Maharaj says, man, at least use for your own self. Whatever money you have, you use it your own self. What are you going to do? When you go away, this money is going to be in the bank. What is the use? Please use it. And Maharaj said very nicely. And therefore, it is very important. Otherwise, Yona Datati. No, Yona Datati means when you don't give, now Bhukte, if you don't enjoy, Tasya Tritiya Gatir Bhava. Tasya Tritiya means definitely it will be destroyed. So it is very important that we should not hold or hold, H-O-A-R-D, hold, means we should not keep the money too much. And therefore it is very important. So otherwise it will be wasted. And Bale Rupubhayam means a powerful person is always worried that another person, even in office, you see, suppose you are a very good software engineer, you're doing wonderful. Somebody codes nicely, and then somebody does nicely, and then somebody can do more better than you. You are doing in half an hour, somebody is doing in 4 hours. You are doing in 4 hours, and he is able to do in 1 hour. And naturally, and if he is subordinate to you, what he will do? You will put him down. Because Bale Rupubhayam. We are worried about your strength. What will happen to my position? They will terminate me and take this fellow inside. So you are always worried, and you want to put that your subordinates down. Bale Rupubhayam. And that's what we can say. Bale Rupubhayam. Rupe Jarabhayam. Rupe Jarabhayam means, I don't have to tell this. Rupe means our Rupa. So the whole world is working on the cosmetics, especially the Fair and Lovely. It made billions of dollars. The Fair and Lovely Hindustan Lever made millions of dollars just by one word, pimple. They used the pimple in the skin, in the chin, and they made millions. So because whole cosmetic organization, business is running on this particular word, Rupe Jarabhaya, because we don't want to become old. Actually, recently I heard some article, there is some cell reprogramming and DNA change, whereby you remove the wrinkles when you become old and also remove and put the hair back and does not make it black. So that's how people are Rupe Jarabhayam. And then next is Sastre Vadibhayam. Sastre Vadibhayam means, especially in devotion service, somebody does better kirtan than us, we are worried. Suppose Anu Prabhu does nicely, Ramchandra Prabhu preaches nicely, then I am worried. Suppose I quote 4 slokas. If he quotes 10 slokas, I am worried about it. And Bhakti also, we are always envious. And somebody appreciates somebody we cannot tolerate. And especially is junior to us, we are very much afraid. So Shastre Vadibhayam. We are always afraid of that. Gune Kalabhayam. Gune Kalabhayam means we are wicked in Achu. This means this one fellow who recently died in South India is a famous singer, S.P. Balasubramanian. He was telling that because he was such an excellent singer, he has sung 40,000 songs. So wonderfully. He has sung in English also, in Hindi also, especially Ek Tujhe Ke Liye. You people may not be knowing. Before you born, this film came. Kamala Hassan and Rati Agnihotri. Very famous film. We love that film very much. So he sang a lot of songs in Hindi also. Very few songs, but not many songs. So he was telling that a lot of love letters comes to him because people love him and because of his tone, because of his voice. So they used to appreciate him and they want to marry him also. They were so mad at marrying him. And then he said, I will not reply any of these letters because he was worried that his virtue will be questioned. So Gune Kalabhayam, we are always worried. And then we are also worried in Bhakti also. Suppose you are 20 years, 10 years in Krishna, and somebody tells us your chanting is not all right, we cannot tolerate. Your Bhagavatam reading is not all right, we are worried. Gune Kalabhayam. And then what is that? Next is, Prabhu, can you show that? Kaya Kritanadbhayam. Ultimately, we are fearful of this body, death. Death we cannot tolerate. So we are always afraid of death. And what is the best way? So Sarvam Vastu Bhayanvitam means every Vastu, whatever we spoke about, 9 types of fear, all are fearful. Bhuminina. Bhuminina means all the living entities like us. Nana means the living entities. Vairagyam Evanam, only the Vairagya, or the which is called Vairagyam. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojataka Janayati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chat Etaketukam. So only Vairagya will give you the fearlessness. And Bhagavatam also tells us very nicely, Until we take shelter of Krishna, we can never become fearless. Very nicely. And then that's why he is called in this verse Abhayankara. Tavad Bayam 396. Tavad Bayam. Next slide, Prabhu. Tavad Bayam Dravinadeka Sokas Praka Paribavo Viplasta Loba. Tavan Mate as a Dabakra Mulam Yavan Nategrim Abhayam. Till the time, Tavad Bayam, till the time we are always. Dravina means wealth. Deha, our body. Sugun means our relatives and wife. Nimittam, all these things. Sogas Praga, we are always lamentation. We are always hankering. Paribavo Viplasta Loba, we are avariciously. Avaricious means too much greedy. Tavan Mameti. These are all happening because I am Aham Mameti. I am this body. Asantamagra. Asant means these are all temporary. Nothing is going to come with us. I told you, Dharma Anugachanti Eka, only our devotion service is going to come with us. Arti Moolam. This is the source of distress. Till the time when Yavan Natengiri Mamayam Pravarith Loka. Till the time we take shelter of Krishna. So that is what. And then there is a cause and remedy for the fear. That's what we have to see. Go to the next slide, Prabhu. It is very, very important. This slide is very important to understand what is the cause of our fear and what is the remedy for the fear. Both are mentioned in this. This verse is very important. Please try to memorize this. Vayam pudhiya puniveshatasya ishadapetasya viparyo asmatihi tanmayato buddhabhajetam bhaktaika yesham gurudevatatma. The first thing is apniveshata. We are absorbed in material things. Just we go to one YouTube channel and we forget ourselves. We forget. We buried. One WhatsApp message, we are buried. So many things are coming. Please, please, please. Immediately you come to consciousness, this Abnivesha should not be there. I should be absorbed in Krishna, not in absorbed in material things. And because of this absorption, what happens? Isha Dapetasya. We turned away from the face of the Lord. And then the next thing happens, Viparya. We misidentify ourselves with the things, okay, with the things which are not permanent. And then Asmriti. Asmriti means we become forgetful of our constitutional position. Asmriti means we forget that we are servant of Krishna. Isha Dapetasya. So Tanmayata, these are all material energy. And then called Maya. Therefore, what is the intelligent person? Buddha Bachetam. He will worship Krishna. And the guidance of his personal master, you should accept his worshipable deity as his life and soul. And that's what we are going to see. This is what we have seen now. So there are two people we have to talk about. One is Prabhu, that one more slide regarding this Jayanand Prabhu is there? Yes. So here, the Jayanand Prabhu's fearlessness is very good. You see here, Jayanand was a great devotee. He is a disciple of Prabhupada. He left his body in 1977. So you can see how he was abhayam, because he took Bhaktaika Esham Gurudevatatma. He followed this verse. He lived this verse. He lived this verse means he took his and accepted and lived. Bhaktaika Esham Gurudevatatma. He took Prabhupada as life and soul. Was not only big but powerful in body. Therefore, nothing could frighten him. Once in San Francisco, Jayanand was playing Mridanga and leading a Kirtan party. In the street, an enormous man appeared. He was just 7 feet tall and weighed perhaps 300 pounds. His unkempt beard and drunken appearance indicated that he was an old veteran living in the bars. As he approached the Kirtan party, the temple's reserved Kshatriyas, Keshavadas and Kripadas, they are ready to fight with him, because usually it happens in the beginning of the Krishna consciousness. Sure enough, the monster marched up to Jayananda and then stopped chanting. The Jayananda looked straight in his face and just chanted Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. To everyone, simply because he was completely fearless, because he was taking shelter of Krishna. Atma Pradipaya. Atma Pradipaya means Krishna, he was chanting the holy names with fearlessness and complete dependence on Srila Prabhupada as faith and soul. What has happened? That went into the heart of the super soul of that drunken man and he becomes pacified. So the ultimate expression at the end of life, because he had a leukemia, is having a blood cancer and cancer of the lymph glands. He wrote from the hospital. He says, I became more Krishna conscious because I'm going to face the death. Because Sarva, we saw, no? Car, what is that? Forgot. Kaye Kritanam Bhayam. We are afraid of this body. But here, he was not fearful of the death also. And then he was instrumental in the Los Angeles Ratha Yatra, and in fact, Prabhupada told him he's an Acharya and we have to celebrate his disappearance day. Just like we celebrate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Gaurakrishna Babaji, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and then Narottama Das Thakur. All these Thakurs we are celebrating. He said, you celebrate Jayananda Prabhu's disappearance day also. And because such an exalted personality, because Gurudev, he took Prabhupada's instructions, and also he never used to be in the front. He used to service all services. And when Prabhu asked him, how did you improve your devotion service? He says, I don't have time to think about it because I'm engaged in the devotion service. So that is the beauty of Jayanand, the Jayanand Prabhuji ki Jai. Because if you can get one mercy, mercy of Jayanand Prabhu, it happened in 1977. He left his body in 1977, 50 years back. Nobody will believe, but he was such an exalted. And that's why in all the Rath Yatras all over the world, Prabhupada made it mandatory that because he was instrumental in the first Rath Yatra in San Francisco, this ISKCON movement Rath Yatra started because of this one man, this one Prabhuji, this one person, this one pure devotee of the Lord, who is completely fearless. Bhaktai Esham Gurudeva Tatma. That means he took the Prabhupada as a worshipable deity, as life and soul. And therefore, he was completely fearless. And he was completely absorbed in Krishna consciousness, not in a material consciousness. We are absorbed in material consciousness. He was completely opposite. And therefore, he doesn't have time to even to think. And such an exalted personality. And therefore, Prabhupada made it mandatory. In all the Rath Yatra, his photo should be there. I will do one thing. You can go to Google, Wikipedia, and ask for Jayanand. You can see the full history of his birth, appearance, and all this. Whenever time permits, you can go through. Okay, Prabhu, we will not waste time now. We'll go into the, okay, the Jayanand, the next one, Prabhu. So, Jayanand, and then one more person is there. One devotee, is there. His name is called Vaduganambi. This Vaduganambi is such an exalted personality. He is a disciple of Ramanujacharya. What he used to do is every day he used to boil milk for Ramanujacharya and give him in the night 8:30. At the time, it was in Srirangam in Trichy. Lord Ranganath takes a procession in the streets and also goes through the streets where Ramanujacharya ashram is there. So every day the Ranganath goes. Lord Ranganath goes through the streets. So every day, whenever it comes to the Ramanujacharya ashram, all the disciples go and take shelter and they offer obeisances and they recite Divya Prabandhams. They glorify the Lord very nicely. But this Vaduganambi will not come out. He will sit inside and he will be boiling the milk. So all these disciples, they become very upset that why this person is doing like this. Why is he doing that? Why is he not honoring Ranganath? Lord Ranganath is nothing but Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna. Krishna is coming to our house. Why is he not honoring? Why is disrespecting the Supreme Lord? So like that they were asking. So, and they were asking and they complained. They were all discussing and chit-chatting and all. They were criticizing him that he doesn't have any love for Krishna, love for Lord Ranganatha. So in the meantime, this message went to Ramanujacharya. Ramanujacharya understood the motive behind the Prabhuji's intention. So then he said, no problem. Then he prayed to Ranganatha, please teach my disciples a lesson. I don't want to teach them any instruction. You do it as a pastime. So Lord Ranganath, the next day, he comes to the house of the ashram of Lord Ramanujacharya. When he comes, he stops there. And then they did the worship and they did the prayers, all the disciples. And the Vaduganambi was sitting inside, was boiling the milk. And then he started to go. Then the Rath doesn't move. They try to move, it is not moving at all. And then everybody was wondering, what is the purpose? What is the purpose? And then Ramanujacharya knows, because he knows Vaduganambi is such an exalted personality who has given his life and soul for me. Bhaktai Esham Gurudeva Tatma. So what he did, he immediately told one of his, please bring Vaduganambi from inside. Let him have the darshan, then only the Lord will move. Worried, how come? What potency? He disrespected Ranganath, how he can do? So they were questioning him. Ramanuja said, please obey me. Please go and get him. So immediately the disciple went and brought Vaduganambi. They told Vaduganambi, your spiritual master is calling Ramanujacharya. Then immediately he rushed because Ramanujacharya is calling, he cannot. Normally he doesn't want to take darshan of Ranganath. But his spiritual master is calling to have darshan. So he comes. So because he comes out of love, because Bhakti Esham Gurudeva Tatma. He comes gradually, he comes to have the darshan of the Lord. And once he had the darshan of the Lord, and then the Rath start moving. And then all the disciples came to senses. oh, we have offended this. They fall at the feet of Vaduganambi and ask for forgiveness. And also, he's such a funny person. That person is so much obsessed with Guru Tattva, that he was obsessed with Guru Prema, Guru Bhakti. Guru Bhakti was, and actually Guru Bhakti will give you Krishna Bhakti. And that's what Prahlad Maharaj is also saying, no? Evam janam nipaditam prabhava vikupe kama bikama manuha prasanga kritvat masat surasina bhagavan. Narasimha was in front of him. He says, I don't want to worship you. Narasimha, Prahlad says, I don't, 7:9:28. He says, I don't want to worship you. But Sogam Katam na Drishite Tababdhyasya. How can I leave the shelter of Nardamani? Because of him, I am having your darshan. So I want to worship my Guru. The same way, here Vaduganambi says, I want to worship. What he used to do is, he used to do a funny thing. So, Ramanujacharya used to have a Saligram Shila, which he used to worship, and he used to keep it in a box. And then what happened? This Vaduganambi, on the top of the box, he will keep the slippers of Ramanujacharya on top of the box. Then Ramanujacharya says, why you are doing offended? Why Krishna? Why my slippers are sitting on the top of you are doing an offense? He says, for you, Ranganatha is the Lord. For me, you are my Lord. So you are my Lord, I have to keep on the top of it. So much bhakti. So Guru Bhakti to the highest extent. And the Guru Bhakti will give you Krishna Bhakti. Because obedience to the spiritual master is the greatest remembrance of Krishna. And that's why he got the mercy of Rad Rangana and he got the mercy of Guru. And Guru used to be funny. He said, why are you doing this offense? I am doing offense. You are not doing offense, but I am doing offense. So that's why he was feeling like that. So Bhaktai Esham Guru Devatatma. So that's what we understand from the fear. So the 9 types of fear, how to get rid of this fear, we saw. And now the next point is we have to go. Next point is Jayananda's fearless. 11 to 37 we discussed. So this is done. This is done already. Unflinchingly attached to the devotion service. Bhaktai Yesham, Gurudeva Datma. The next is, now we will go to the next one. So this is what we have to understand. Now, this Brahmastra is burning. And also we must understand, that's why every day when we do Mangala Arati, Samsharadhava Nalalita Loka Trinaya Karunya Gana Ganatvam. What is he asking the spiritual master? Samsara Dava Nalalita. This Samsara Dava, this Samsara Sava is burning us. Every day Corona, every day death. There is a big storm in South India. Now there is another storm is coming. So many problems, farmers' problems, food problem, this Corona problem, death problem, disease problem, so many problems. BP, sugar, so many problems are there. In those days, number of BP sugar patients are very less. Now, every second person is having BP sugar. This is natural phenomenon because the way in which we cultivated our lives. So lazy. Previously, they used to grind in the hand, and therefore the hand was strong. There was no BP, there was no sugar. My grandmother never went for BP sugar. My grandmother, I know. She was so strong up to 90. So, because they were doing a lot of service on the moon, and therefore we don't do it, and therefore we are suffering. So much of Dakyamanam. Dakyamanam means it's burning in all sides. Every time we are always in anxiety. What is going to happen? What is going to happen? What is going to happen? We are always worried, fearful. Dakyamanam means is burning. And Brahmastra is burning Arjuna. What he does? He says, it is very important. So he says, and that's why the Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi. This also was able to, that we are burning in the samsara. He is saying, I am burning in the samsara, and therefore we are so much ignorance because of the false identification of the body. We are not alert against this fire because we think that we are going to live forever. We are not just, Arjuna was aware, and therefore he is saying, Dakyamanam, it is burning me. Not only this Brahmastra, the samsara is also burning me. So he has realized, but because we are not absorbed in Krishna, we are absorbed in material affairs, we don't realize this. That's why I told you, we should not recite this verse. Krishna Krishna Mahabaho Bhaktanam Abhiyankara, sleeping. No. Krishna Krishna Mahabaho Bhaktanam Abhiyankara Tumeko Dakyamananam Apavargopi Samsutehe. Our Maharaj said, showed at the top of the voice. You are not sitting in a sofa and reciting this verse. So you should go to the mood of Arjuna. Arjuna knows that we are all suffering. Dakyamananam, he is telling on behalf of us. He is a pure devotee of the Lord. He knows Samsara Chakra. He knows that. He knows 100%. Because he is a pure devotee of the Lord. The Gudakesha means he's completely conquered the sleep. There is no ignorance, iota of ignorance. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita also. So the Gudakesha means doesn't have any ignorance. Because completely every hair particle of Krishna, Arjuna was chanting Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. So powerful devotee of the Lord. Mahabharata says. So such a powerful person is telling us Dakyamanana. So that's why every day we should feel that is burning us. Therefore, Pranaya Karunya. Please, spiritual master, give me your mercy. Just like ocean of clouds which is pouring and then removing the forest fire. Please remove the Dakyamanana. Please give me your mercy so that I can take shelter. So one day Guru Sri Sarnaravindam Samsara Rava Nalali Toka Pranaya Karunya Gana Ganatma. Praptasya Kalyana Gunanamasya Vande Guru Sri Kalyana. Please give me auspiciousness. By and that's why every day morning when we recite the Mangalati, we should remember that we are burning in this samsara. Yeah, that means we have to have the consciousness, not that samsara dava nalalita loka nayakarunya. No, this is not the way. We have to be absorbed. We have to remember this was Dakyamanana. It is burning us all the time. And therefore, then what is the best way to come out? Can you go to the slide, Prabhu? Apavarga. So here, there is two things which we have to remember. Can you go to the slide, Prabhu? Yeah. So, yeah. So it is called Pavarga. Now here it is mentioned Apavarga. Apavarga means liberation. Pavarga means bondage. Pa pa ba ba ma. We know, no? In Hindi we know. Pa means parishram. Parishram means we are working so hard in this life. We are working 24 hours. We are working very hard. You know that we are working very hard. Parishram. Because we have to get a few morsels. The boss will insult us. The other people will insult us. So many people will insult us. And you won't believe it. We have to struggle, literally struggle in the office. It is really very painful in the office to work. It is not so easy. You have to slog. And in fact, I remember December 1st and 2nd is national holiday in Abu Dhabi. But I used to go all the days because there is no holiday for us. Because Parishram, we have to slog on the 1st and 2nd because 4th, I have to give the accounts. I don't have any time to think about it. So Parishram only. We have to work like a hog. We work so much hog. We work so much, just like the horses, the work, and then the foam comes out. Fur. Fur means foam. Foams comes out. Foams comes out, and then bandhan. What happens? Then we get married, we become bandhan. And then baya, the 9 types of fear, I need not tell you. And then the final problem is mrityu. So, and this is what Bhagavatam tells us. There are 6 points, 6 changes in our body. Starting point, birth, growth, we grow as a boy, a youth, etc. Then maintenance, we maintain the body. And then expansion, we expand the wife and children. And then dwindling, the age is dwindling. And then the death, finally we leave the body. Apavarga means no pavarga. Krishna conscious is the only way to get out of it, which is burning us samsara. And therefore, what we should do to remove this apavarga, we should take shelter of Krishna. She should take shelter of Prabhupada. So what means? SP means starting point means Srila Prabhupada. Give. G means gives. ME means me. Give me. Deliverance. D and death. Deliverance from death. SPG MEDD. We can remember this acronym. So every time we are burning in the samsara, just like Arjuna is feeling, and therefore this verse you can recite every day. And this verse you can recite all the 24 hours. Because we are always burning in samsara. So this verse, whenever we are difficult, not only difficult, and in fact, one Prabhu in Abu Dhabi, he lost a job and he was afraid of the. So at the time, he chanted more than Hare Krishna mantra. So this verse has become his life and soul. And in fact, I was also fearful. I was chanting this mantra all the time. Whenever I want to go to sleep, I should recite this mantra because it gives you sleep also. It gives peace of mind. Krishna Krishna Maha Baho. Memorize this verse. Some or other you memorize this verse. I request all the devotees to memorize. There are 12 verses like this Krishna Krishna. I will try to send that verse. I will try to send this verse to you by. I'll send the verse recited by my wife. By my pronunciation is not good. So please recite those verses. And then I think Anu Prabhu can give the meaning in English and our verse also so that we can recite along. I'll try to send the recordings because somebody was asking me for these verses I gave. So I can give these verses to you. I'll send it to Anu Prabhu. Then he can share it with all of you in your WhatsApp. So this verse should be recited all the time. Krishna, Krishna, easily you can understand. Krishna, Krishna, Mahabhava. Krishna, Krishna means when you are in difficulty, we call 2 times. Mahabhava. Mahabhava means you are almighty. because I don't know what is the Brahmastra. And then he says what? Bhaktanam, I am a devotee. So I am a devotee. Bhaktanam Abhayankara, because you give me fearlessness. How to counteract this Brahmastra? And then he says, Tumeko Dakyamananam. Because not only the Tumeka, you can only give me fearlessness. You can instill fearlessness. Because Dakyamananam, because not only this Brahmastra is burning me, I am afraid, but the Samsara is also burning. Therefore, you liberate me. He says, not only I want relief. So he is asking two relief. One is relief from the Brahmastra. Another one relief from this material life. And this verse you can recite every day, every second we can recite. Because this is a verse we can ask Krishna, please relieve me from this immediate problem and solve me from that problem. Now, Hare Krishna. Now, Apavargogi Shamsitehe. And then in the next verse, I'll finish the next verse quickly because I will not take much time. So here he says, and that why we have to take shelter of Krishna? Why we have to take shelter of Krishna? Not only is Abhayankara, not only is Apavarga, and now he says, why is Apavarga? And because he says in the next verse, he is called Tvam Adya Purushaha. You are the original person. You are the original enjoyer. And therefore, directly I break you, Sakshat. You are the original person. Tvam Adya Purusha. That's what he is telling in 23. Tvam Adya Purushaha. Sakshat, directly. And then Ishvara Prakriti Praha. You are not affected by any material energy. Ishvara, you are a controller. Prakriti Para. Prakriti means material nature. Paraha, you are transcendental to material nature. And why you are transcendental to material nature? Because Mayam Dudasya Shikshitya. You just throw aside your material energy doesn't touch you because of your internal potency. And therefore, what you should do, whenever we chant Krishna's name, we can throw away the material energy. The material energy can be thrown away. Just like the child in the womb is praying that I don't want the Deva Maya to capture me. So I don't want the Deva Maya. Deva Maya will not capture you if you take shelter of Krishna's holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. What has happened? At that time, because when we chant the holy names, we are in the internal potency. When you are in the internal potency, the external energy, Prakriti Para, Ishvara Prakriti Paraha. Then what else? Maya Vijudasya Kaivalya Sthita Atmani. Kaivalya Sthita Atmani means, he says, you are always Kaivalya. Kaivalya means pure eternal knowledge. Then we get pure knowledge that we are Isha Apetasya will not be there. We are completely absorbed in Krishna. Avista Chetaha. And then pure eternal knowledge. Eternal knowledge means that we are servant of Krishna. We realize that we are servant of Krishna and we have to be engaged. And therefore, we should always ask for opportunity for rendering service. And Krishna is the source of all opportunities. Samanjas is called in the Bhagavatam. So, opportunity to render service. The more we get opportunity to render service, that means we are engaged in the pure eternal knowledge. And bliss. And bliss is also there because this is the bliss. Just like, we're eating a food. When you're eating the food, what happens? Every morsel of food, when you're hungry, when you take prasadam, what happens? Every morsel of food, you give tushti, pushti, and then bliss and happiness. Bliss, it is not happiness, bliss. What a tushti means? You get energy. You get pushti, you get energy. Tushti means you get satisfied. Pushti means every morsel of food when you're hungry, especially after the Janmashtami or something, no? Any food is like amrita for you because you want to taste prasadam. Correct? Because you are hungry. So at the time we take every morsel of food will give you tushti, will give you satisfaction. Pushti, it will give you energy, and also it will give you bliss. Correct? Especially after Janmashtami fasting, you take prasadam, then three things happen. The same way you enjoy the transcendental bliss. Whenever we chant, three things happens. When we do devotion service in the internal energy, not in the external energy, three things happens. One is that we become detached from this material world and we have direct experience of Krishna, and then devotional service, bhakti comes. Bhakti, direct experience of Krishna, that is a bliss. That's why we are chanting the same mantra. Suppose, if you have you changed the mantra for 20 years? I have not changed the mantra. I didn't change the Hare Krishna mantra. So that means it has got potency. If it has not got potency, if I chant Coca-Cola, 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 Pepsi, 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 how long you can chant? 1 day, 2 day, half a day, 3, half an hour, 1 hour? No. So this is how we should understand that three things happen simultaneously. So Kaivalya, Sthita, Atmani. Atmani means your own self. We can have the real bliss inside when we attach with Krishna. Ishvara, Prakriti Paraha. Maya Vyudasya. Vyudasya means you just cast away, throw away. So the moment we take it the internal energy, Krishna doesn't throw away. Krishna is not affected because Krishna is transcendental. Correct? Krishna is not like us. Krishna is apapa with them. Sin cannot touch him at all. So nothing can touch, no material energy can touch because he's pure. Ishvara Prakriti. He says that's why Maya Dakshina Prakriti Suyate Characha. I am in them at the same time I'm not in them. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is not affected by material. When he comes, the material world, he is not affected at all. Never is affected. And that's why he is able to see this Putana is coming to kill me, this Drinavata is going to kill me, he is coming, Chaktasura is coming to kill me, this Agasura is coming to kill me. He is never bewildered. Krishna is never bewildered. Krishna is never bewildered. Whereas we are bewildered. And that's why his another name is called Avismitam. Vismita means we are bewildered. Every time something happens, some corona come, we are bewildered. So we are anything, something happens in our material life, we are bewildered. But here, Krishna is never bewildered. Because he knows past, present, and future. He knows what is happening in the past, what is happening in the current, and what is going to happen in the future also he knows. That's why he tells Arjuna that I am going to kill all these people. They are entering my mouth. Don't worry, you just become an instrument. So we should become an instrument and take into the internal energy and not in the external energy. And that's why we have to get out of the samsara, not only the fear for the immediate fear problem, and also the samsara dava, which has to be, and that is the only way. That's why he is telling in the next verse, Ishvara Prakriti Paraha. Vyudasya, that is a very important. Vyudasya is a very, very important. Maya Vyudasya. That means every time when we are in Maya, that means we are getting attached to Maya, Abnivesha. When you are away from Krishna, when you are engaged in the devotion service, bhakti, in all the times, when you are cooking also, when you are cooking the prasadam, Mataji are cooking prasadam. At the time, why can't it recite some sloka? Krishna Krishna Maha Baho, Bhaktanam Abhayankara. What is the time? This only 2 minutes it takes. You can recite as many times as you want. Or you can chant the holy names of the Lord. And you can recite the Damodarashtakam. You can recite the Kirtans. Why we should waste our time all the time? So this is how we should always be absorbed in Krishna. So that means at the time, Maya Buddhasta Chichakya. So that means you will be completely away from the material energy. This is how we should continue the devotion service. And this is what these two verses are telling. Thank you very much for tolerating me. I have taken 2 classes, but I thought that the fear factor has to be explained. So now we will stop here. Hare Krishna, Bhagavatam Granthaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Anything I have spoken wrong, please forgive me. I'm still struggling in the devotion service, Bhakti. Please pray for me. I am only speaking, I'm not practicing. To be frank with you, I'm still struggling to practice. So please pray for me that I become a devotee. You please pray for me. Hare Krishna.
No,
Now,
Prabhuji. Thank you for taking the 2 classes. We love to hear. And in the first class, first, I mean, I could able to see like there's a one important punching point was happiness and blissful, because we are always hankering about the temporary happiness, which is very temporary after the
correct,
things.
correct.
But the
Yeah.
actually we need to look for the blissful. That is the one
Correct.
thing. And second thing, that in second class you blasted the fear, how much fear we have. So we have some
Mm.
devotees, and the few questions are there, Pooji, we will take. So
Yeah, yeah,
Pankaj
please.
Prabhuji was asking, I have a lot of fear of ghost. How can I overcome it?
Okay. Yes. Okay. Prabhu, don't worry about this ghost and all. Actually, when we chant the holy names of Krishna, the ghost will not touch us. Our Maharaj was once in our Maharaj, Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj was somewhere in South Africa or East Africa. At the time, they were all worried. They were trying to do some black magic to get rid of. Maharaj said, when we chant the holy names, because Swasti Ayanam Sumangalam. Sumangalam means extremely auspicious. The more we chant, whenever you are fearful, you chant this verse. Krishna Krishna Mahabaho Bhaktanam Abhayankara. When you touch this, the material energy cannot come in the form of ghost. Nothing can touch you. Please have the faith, but you have to pray intensively to Krishna to get rid of the fear of ghost. No ghost will attack. Because the more we are chanting Krishna's name, the more we become fearless. It is not easy. It's not one day that today I tell you one tablet and you become all right. No, it will take time. It's like that. It's a long process. So don't worry, but just chant. This Krishna, Are Arjuna Vacha, Krishna Krishna Maha Baho, memorize this verse. This verse has to be memorized by all of you. Don't miss this. This is my humble request. I'm not forcing you. I'm not putting a gun on you. It is a loving request to you. I'm falling at your feet and begging you to chant this name all day. chant this verse, please. I'm begging at you. I'm falling at your feet and asking you to chant this verse, please. Okay. Now, another question. This is okay, Prabhu? Pankaj Prabhu, you are there? Pankaj Prabhu? Pankaj Prabhu is there?
Yeah, he said, thank you, Lord. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Huh? Okay, very good. Next, what is the next question, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, how can fear and related anxiety be reduced gradually through devotional service?
Yes, Prabhu. Adaji, we have to, and that's why I said this cause and Bhayam Tutiya means this Bhaya is because we have to understand there is a nice verse. I think we discussed this verse also. That we don't understand Krishna is with us. Santam Samipe Ramanam Rati Pradam. Vitta Padam Nityam Eham Vihaya. He is sitting with us. But what we do, instead of going to Krishna, we are going to the material things. This anxiety and fear, because we are in the bodily conception, it is there. It's not so easy to release. So what will happen? The more we do bhakti, the more we have faith. Because the fear is coming because we have lack of faith. So lack of faith is the main reason for the fear. I also have the fear. Today also because I have already retired. I'm worried about my life, how I'm going to be, how my life body is going to be. I'm afraid. This fear is there. But the only way to get rid of the fear is to immerse ourselves in the pages of the Bhagavad. Because this fear can be ruled only by Vairagya, detachment. And Bhagavatam is Vairagya Vidya. Whenever you are in fear, please read Bhagavatam. And then we have to understand that our life in this world is temporary. And this is what we have to remember. So, whatever we are seeing, whatever we are hearing, everything is temporary. Okay? Nothing is now. This singer SPB has died. Now, whatever he's singing is there for the people. For him, nothing is there. He has left. His voice is left. His body is left. His appreciation, everything is left. He has left. Correct? So, Saji,
Prabhuji, we cannot hear you. Yeah, now we can.
sorry. The more we have faith in Krishna, this is very important. So you have to Shraddha, Adav Shraddha. And the Shraddha will be based on how yesterday I think Kanchaka Prabhu was telling nicely. We have to be focused in our chanting, focused in our reading, and please pray to Krishna Mataji. This is the best prayer. Arjuna's Krishna Krishna Mahabhava Bhaktanam Abhayankara. Please instill me fearlessness. So what else you want? This verse is enough. This verse you recite 24 hours. And this is the only way to reduce anxiety. Mataji. This is the only way. Bhagavatam is the only way to reduce anxiety. And you have to read the Shastras. That is what. I'm also fearful. The last 2 years, I went through a lot of fear in the office. And that fear is somewhat reduced because of the devotional service. It is working. So this is the only way. It will be gradually reduced. It will take time because it depends on our vasanas, our karmas, Krishna's mercy, our Krishna conscious realization. 4 things are there. Our karmas are also an impact. Our vasanas, whatever vasanas we created from last Janma is also there. And then Guru's mercy is there. And then our Krishna conscious realization. So this depends on that. So don't worry about it. But recite this verse 24 hours. So you recite it and see. Along with the chanting, you recite this. This verse you should memorize. Everyone should memorize. This is my humble. Okay, Mataji?
Yeah.
Is it okay, Mataji? Rajat Prabhu, huh? Prabhu or Mataji?
Rajat Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Yes, thank
Prabhu,
you.
is it
Thank you,
okay?
Prabhuji, for the explanation. Thank you.
Okay.
Prabhuji, one more question. I'm learning how to being detached with everyone, but I'm talking about close relationship, breakage of relationship, whether I'm fearful of breakage of relationship with the close relationships.
Where it is?
In the last 2 in the question. Tripti Mati, you
Same
can
person, huh?
unmute and ask. Yeah, Tripti.
Okay. I am fearful of the breakage of relationship, whether it is with anyone. Yes, I am learning how to be detached with everyone, but I am talking about close relationship. Yes, okay.
Hare
Mataji, I am
Krishna.
fearful. Yes, Mataji. Tell me, Mataji.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Dandavat Pranam, Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Tell me.
Prabhuji, initially I used to be a lot of attachment with anyone, whether it's my friends, whether it's my elder sisters and everyone. But now, by learning, by listening Bhagwatam, I'm trying to be detached with everyone. But I'm here talking about with close relationship, that in fear, that in anger we used to speak anything that may hurt anyone.
Yeah, correct.
Even it is about close relationship also.
Yeah,
So I am sometimes fearful of matlab, breakage of close relationship. I'm talking about
yeah,
it's
yeah.
my
Understood, ma'am.
uh, brother,
Uh,
sister.
Mataji. Mataji, we have to understand one
Everyone is
thing.
expect.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Mataji. Yeah, okay. You finished? You have anything else to say? Mataji, anything else you want to add?
I guess
I
you have got my point. So
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So, Mataji, your question is very good. But what we have to do is our relationship with the material world, we cannot avoid, especially our son, our sisters, our mother, father. These relationship are very close relationship. Okay. Outside relationship, we can detach. There is no problem because we can minimize the relationship. Our friends and all, we can minimize the relationship. Minimize means we don't want to associate with the material people because we should be afraid, just like the child in the womb is afraid of material association. And therefore, we should be afraid of material association. And therefore, better, not that we should avoid them totally, but minimum association, minimum relationship. Minimum means a workable relationship, Maharaj says. That's what, Bhagavatam tells us. Punascha bhuyat bhagavati anante. He says, Parishit Maharaj says, Punascha bhuyat bhagavati anante. I should have unlimited attraction towards you. That is very important. Bhagavati anante, rati means attraction. Rati prasanga tadashrayeshu. Mahatsu yamyam upyam system. I should associate with the pure devotees all the time. In all the planetary system, wherever I go take birth. But Maitra Sarvatra Namo Dijabhya. I should be friendly with all relationships. Friendly means we should be friends with everybody, with the phone, father, mothers, everybody, and especially father, mother, brother, sister, children. This we cannot dissociate, Mataji, because we are not on the transcendental platform. We are not on the pure devotional platform. So we are attached. I am also attached to my son. I am also attached to my father. I am attached to my wife, and I am feeling for that. That is definite. It is not possible. So because this detachment will come, this Vairagya Vidya will come over a period of time. Don't worry about it. Now, my material associations are very, very minimal, and I know that I don't associate with the material people unnecessarily. Minimum relationship only. Because they also know that this person is Krishna conscious. They will also withdraw. So, withdraw in the sense, we don't, but at the same time, we have a workable relationship. Not at least we should say hi, how are you? At least that level we should not. And suppose if they are suffering, we should go and help them. Because we have to understand the whole process of Krishna consciousness is that Vasudeva Sarvamiti. We have to see Krishna in everybody. That is the ultimate goal. Vasudeva Sarvamiti means whether he is a non-devotee or a devotee, relative, non-relative, we have to see Krishna. That is the ultimate. That is very, very highest level. But we have to have workable relationship with everybody. Don't fear. Suppose you become angry with your own sister and all, and they are condemning you, and then they say your Krishna consciousness is waste, and then they criticize you, you just tolerate. Don't react. We should not react. Because devotee means tolerate. And I asked my Maharaj, what is the limit of tolerance? Maharaj said there is no limit for tolerance. Devotee has to tolerate. That you see, imagine that Haridas Thakura was caned in 22 marketplaces. He was caned and he was asked to die. Imagine. Because he chanted Krishna's name. Can you imagine he didn't do any other offense? The Muslim people, so we are not going to go through that situation. So we have to tolerate whatever is possible, Mataji. So our relationship with all the people is friendly relationship. Friendly means workable relationship. Jayanand Prabhu is the best example. So many drinkers will be there. So many drug addicts will. They will say, where is Jayanand Prabhu? In the Rathayatra, they will ask for him. Why? Because they love him. Oh, that guy is a very good guy. Because he was having such a wonderful relationship and he was seeing Krishna. That's how we should develop. And we should see Krishna in everybody. And that is the main thing, Mataji. The whole Krishna conscious is that we have to see and our workable relationship. So we should not, we artificially we cannot detach. The detachment should be natural. And how it will come? Through the page of the Bhagavad. Janayati Ashu Vairagyam. Jnanam. Jnanam means the knowledge that we are not this body. It will come slowly. This is Vairagya Vidya. Bhagavatam is a Vairagya Vidya. The Bhagavad Gita is a Vairagya Vidya. This has to be constantly applied. The main thing is we are not applying the principle. I am also speaking only. I am not applying this principle on day-to-day life. And that's why the problem. Pratak Diya. There is another concept. Why we are suffering, why we are having relationship. There is another thing, which is a big topic which I cannot talk now. Pratak Diya. We will talk sometimes later. So, and that's why we have to be very careful that we should not break relationship with anybody. Forget about it. Even a small ant, Jadaparda was jumping not to hurt. So that's how we should be very careful. Mataji. This is how you should try. Don't break the relationship. Don't break any relationship. Friends also, workable relationship we should. Minimum relationship we should keep. We should not break. Breakage is not there. Because if you are breaking means you are breaking with Krishna. Every living entity is part and parcel of Krishna. That means you are hating somebody means you are breaking the relationship with Krishna. That's how we have to understand. Because Krishna is there in everybody's heart. Forget about it. It is in the hand, it is in the dog, it is in everywhere. It is there. So we cannot break. We should have workable, friendly relationship. Friendly relationship doesn't mean that I go and associate with the tiger. No, that we cannot do. We should keep a distance only. But the same way, we have to have workable relationship with our living enemy, with our friends, close friends. Don't shout, tolerate it as much as possible, and try to do a bhakti early in the morning so that nobody is disturbed. The more we wake up early in the morning, and then we can catch Krishna because 5:30 he goes for cow, herding the cows. So he's not available after 5:30. So Krishna has to be caught before 5:30. So that is the best time to chant, the best time to do and Mangala and recite Bhagavatam verses. In the early morning, you recite all these verses and pray to Krishna deeply. We have to pray to Krishna deeply. Please give me fearlessness. Please give me bhakti. Please don't break my relationship with everybody. We should pray to Krishna intensively. Every day we have to pray. Please give me a relationship, good workable relationship with the living entities. And I should not. So this is how we should get detached. Detachment should be natural, Mataji. Don't get attached. Just like, we should do everything at full involvement, but at the same time we are detached. And that's how we should be fully involved. Just like a cashier is taking the cash, who is taking the cash very nicely. He is millions of cash he is counting, but he is not attached. Because this belongs to the bank, nothing belongs to it. The same way we should cultivate this habit in our lives. And that's what Bhagavad Gita tells, no? Brahmanya adaya karmani sangam taktva karodye. Lipyate na papena padma padra vamasa. Just like water in the lotus flower doesn't stick, that should be our motive. We should have minimum attachment to everybody. But at the same time, we should express so much love for every living entity. We should love everybody. Love everybody means we are loving Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness. Okay, Mataji? Try in this direction and pray to Krishna. One day Krishna will give you this. Okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much. I want to ask two questions from your lecture only. Yeah, this lecture which you have explained recently.
Yes, Mataji.
One is saying that Krishna is in animals. So why it is not allowed to serve animal? And another question is
what is served animals means? Dogs and all? Pets?
yes, pets. And
To
one
serve
more
the
thing.
pets. Okay.
Yes, one more thing you are saying that we should see Krishna in every person. If
Correct.
we will see Krishna in every person, then we will get more attached because I will think that he is Krishna.
No. That's why we have to be. He is not Krishna. He is part and parcel of Krishna. That means we have loving relationship with him. That's why I said Padma Patra Imambasa. We are attached at the same time detached. Just like water, if you put water in the lotus flower, it will never get attached. Correct? It is close to the flower, but it is not attached. So we are close to them, but internally inside the heart, we are attached to Krishna only. We are seeing Krishna in them. They are not Krishna. Please don't mistake me. Please don't
Yes.
mistake me. Means we have to see Krishna in them. Not Krishna. They are not Krishna. They are part and parcel of Krishna. That's how it should be. Okay, you understand, Mataji, the principle?
But if they are making any mistakes, then I have to tolerate it that they are the part and parcel of Krishna. That means
No.
karma.
Okay. What is the mistake they are doing? They are your sisters or elder or younger or your children. Who are they? Huh?
If they are elders.
Elders means usually we should not argue with them, but we can tell them nicely. This is not correct and all, but usually we don't tell them to correct themselves because old people very difficult to convince them. But what we should do, we should tell them nicely. Not that we have to correct them because especially when their children are young, and then that's why I told in one of the classes Leniency leads to distress. We cannot tolerate, because children are part and parcel of Krishna, so that I will tolerate all this. And then they will, just like they become like Duryodhana, they will become like the Ashwatthama, then it is not good for us. They should become devotees. So it is very important. So that is very, very important. So that's why we can correct them. We can request to correct them. This is what the mistake. Please, this is how we should do. We should tolerate them as far as possible, but we should tell them also, because if they go beyond the limits, we have to tell them also. That is also important. Okay. It depends on the circumstances how you deal with them, and we have to pray to Krishna. And then there is a verse 8.3.10 Atma Pradipaya. Suppose if you want to correct somebody and you want to tell, you pray to Krishna Atma Pradipaya 8.3.10 of Bhagavatam. You recite this verse. Recite the verse and pray to Krishna that I am going to tell them this information so that it can be corrected. Krishna, you please enlighten them to correct it. You are not there to correct. Krishna as a Paramatma is to correct. Then what happens? He takes this, just like we saw the Jayanand. The man came and told, stop chanting. Then he was saying, just chant Hare Krishna. Because he was surrendered to Krishna. The more we surrender to Krishna, then Krishna as a Paramatma living, sitting in the heart of the other living entity will agree with you. That is how it is secret. So Atma Pradipaya means he will enlighten. Whatever statement we tell, it will enlighten. Suppose I am giving the class, it has to be enlightened by you. Unless I am pure, my message will not be effective at all. Correct? So I am praying to Krishna that you enlighten them from within. That's what I am praying to Krishna. So that's why we have to pray to him and enlighten. Okay. Regarding the pets, you asked me, Mataji. The pets, Mataji, what is happening is, we know from the pages of Bhagavatam, this Bharat Maharaj was attached to deer, and then he took the form of the deer. Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So that's why pets, especially dogs, cats, and all, we get attached to it. Too much attachment. Bodily attachment
Yes.
is too much, and they die, and they become very obsessed. So, and I also have opposite my house in Chennai. They're wearing a dog. They're so much attached. That attachment will, and we want to go out there worried about the dog. So that's why the whole life goes on thinking about how to take care, how to take care, how to take care. So already we are not able to take care of the children. So we are going to take care of the pets. But there are so many Red Cross, Blue Cross, so many people are there to take care of it. It's not that we should not keep pets, but better to avoid. It is not that I am forcing you that we should do it. But what happens? This attachment creates bondage. It creates bondage. Already we are attached to family. This is additional bondage. Why you have to take this? This additional burden on your head. Another anxiety. The dog dies. The dog puts stool. We have to clean. So many things additional. So that time we should use it for Krishna's service. Anyway, we have to serve. Maybe you can give some donation to some this veterinary hospitals and all to take care of them as a matter of donation. You can give them so that the pets can be taken care of. But you keep a pet on yours, it eats your valuable time and it attracts you. So you are in Abnivesha Chitta, Bhagavatam does. So you get absorbed materially and get diverted. So that's the reason Prabhupada never recommended that we should have pets. But some devotees had that pets. Some Prabhupada disciples have. Prabhupada never really condemned, but he said, please avoid. That's all. He never said that you should not have. Not like that. Because you are attached, you have the tendency, yes, you can keep it. Minimum attachment. That's what we should do. Okay. And one more thing. Last week, somebody asked me regarding Ashwatthama. Ashwatthama, what pious activities? Actually, I came to know in the Mahabharata. So, whenever Arjuna used to do some lot of the training, he used to do from morning to evening, and Dronacharya used to give him lot of tests. And then so he will not skip the lunch, he will skip the lunch, he will skip the breakfast, because he was so determined to learn the archery. And then up to night, he will do it. And then what happened? This Ashwatthama used to make prasadam and give it to Arjuna. So he served Arjuna with prasadam. And therefore, serving the pure devotee of the Lord, Ajnana Sugurti, has given him bhakti. And that is the reason he became Chiranjeevi, and also he was able to become Vyasadeva in the next life, just by the mercy of the pure devotee. Just like Mayadanava, one of the demons, took shelter of Arjuna, and then he became a devotee of the Lord. Krishna became very pleased with him in the Kandava forest. The same way. Okay. So Ashwatthama did the service to Arjuna, pure devotee of the Lord. So whatever Ajnana Sumati you do service to the pure devotee of the Lord, it will have immense benefit. So you see, he killed the Pandava sons. He did so much atrocities. He did Brahmastra 2 times, but still, Krishna gave him the position of Vyasa Bhagavan to write Vyasa literatures. Can you imagine what is the position? Okay. So I
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Guruji,
Prabhuji,
please send me that verse that you were saying whenever we try to explain someone about what verse
8:3.
were you saying?
yeah, 1 second, Mataji. I will send you. Prabhuji, can you put 8310, Prabhu?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is Gajendra's prayers. Nama Atma Pradipaya Shakshine Paramatmane Namom Giram Nuduraya Manasam Tesa Samapi Atma Pradipaya means, see, Gajendra is praying to Krishna, unto him who is self-effulgent. You are self-effulgent, you want to just protect me from the crocodile or gives enlightenment to the living entities. This word is very important. Prabhupada is such a transcendental person, each and every word he has meditated. Word who gives enlightenment. So, Krishna has to give enlightenment. So, whatever message you are giving, you should always remember this. And this is the word, this is the way we have to put a merciful attempt and Krishna will enlighten. So this verse also you can Atma Pradipaya, Nama Atma Pradipaya, Shakshine Paramatmane, Namam Yudham Vidudaya, Manasam Chetasamapi. This is the verse. This is spoken by Gajendra, especially in Damodar month. It is worth to recite this verses. There are about 20 verses, I think 832 to 8329. About 28 verses are there. Very nice to recite in the morning. Very auspicious to recite. I will do one thing. I will try to get this verse also for you. Okay. I will send it to Anu Prabhu and you will share with all of you. I'll share all the verses. Krishna Krishna Mahabhavu, all the verses are there. Prabhu, I will send those verses, Prabhu.
Sure.
Anu
Sure,
Prabhu,
Prabhuji. Sure,
I'll
Prabhuji.
send those verses to you, and then you can put the English meaning, translation, and word also
Yeah,
from the
sure.
Bhagavatam. There are Maijanti has already recited the verses. I'll send the verses to you. Recitation is there. Only thing is you have to put the verse translation. Don't put the
Yes,
purport. Verse and translation is enough. Okay. All the Krishna
हरे
Krishna
कृष्णा
is there.
प्रभु
Yes,
हरे
Prabhu.
कृष्णा प्रभु प्रभु ना थोड़ा हिंदी में भी बोला करो और थोड़ा धीरे धीरे बोला करो प्रभु
Okay.
हरे
Thank you.
कृष्णा
Sorry,
प्रभु
Prabhu. Yes,
हरे
Prabhu.
कृष्णा प्रभु दंडवत
हिंदी
प्रणाम
हिंदी में मैं कोशिश करूंगा. मैं हिंदी में 2 साल दिल्ली में था, 1989 to 1991 दिल्ली में था. बट फिर भी हमारा हिंदी बहुत कचरा है, इसलिए आई एम वरीड दैट आई विल ऑफेंड द पीपल. So that's why
अच्छा अच्छा
I am not speaking in Hindi. Please
अच्छा अच्छा
don't mistake me. I will try to
नाइस
include some
क्लास
other
प्रभु
words. I will try. Please don't mistake me, bro. Because problem with Madrasis is that from the childhood they speak English and Tamil. They will never speak Hindi because Hindi is barred in South India, Chennai. Chennai is dead against Hindi. This is the problem. And in
ओके
fact, I'm not able to gather Hindi at all. You know? In fact, I'm not able to gather Sanskrit also. So it's a foreign language for me. So it is taking time for me to pick up. Some words I will try to put through. Okay? Because
ओके
the flow
प्रभु
is
ओके
not there. Because when I speak the classes, the flow will not be there because I'm more conversant with English. That's why I'm not able to speak in Hindi. Please don't mistake me. I don't have because I don't have the words to choose from the from Hindi because I'm not very good at Hindi. So it's not like a
ओके
fluent language for me. Okay, bro,
Yeah.
ओके
please
ओके
don't
ओके
mistake.
ओके
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank
हरे
you, Prabhuji.
कृष्णा प्रभु
Thank you for your time. But we have one last question we'll take and we'll close because the time we extended a lot. Pankaj Prabhuji was requesting if we tolerate material persons, then they will think he or she is weak, made him more bully. So
Correct, Prabhu. Yes, yeah. Okay,
how we can avoid
okay.
it?
That is very good point. Excellent point, Prabhu. Tolerate means, Prabhu, what we have to do is we have to tolerate up to certain level. After certain level, we have to correct them. Leniency leads to distress. Suppose, forget about material people, our own children. Just like Ashwatthama and Vidura told Dhritarashtra, please correct your son Duryodhana. He is being pampered too much. You should not be allowed to do this. Please correct him. And this was instructions given by Vidura to Dhritarashtra. And Dhritarashtra never listened. And therefore, he just simply tolerated his son's all atrocities. And the result is the whole Mahabharata war. And the whole Mahabharata war destroyed 64 crore people. So that's why tolerate also, we should be judicious to use the tolerance. Material people, if they bully, then it is not good. So we may have to sometimes. For example, I will tell you a classic example. In my office, one Pakistani guy was working under me. What he used to do is he will do the work, but sometimes because he's learning, he was in purchase, he came to my billing department. So when he came here, he was in the purchase, he was expert. So he will do the work for 3-4 hours, and balance he was playing some games. So he was enjoying. Now when he came to billing, he's learning. So he has to learn a lot of things, and there was some backlog. So I thought that he was just relaxing and he was enjoying. And then what I did, I started sending letters to him. I was not tolerant. I was initially telling him orally, please do, please do, please do, please do, tolerant, mildly. And then I became one stage, I started writing emails to him. Send an email, please do it by today. You have to do it by today. And then I was sending reminders every day. He became annoyed. He became upset with me. That is not tolerance. If you tolerate, then what will happen? The subordinate will swallow you. They will bully you. So we should not allow that. So we have to use our tolerance where we have to see time, place, and circumstances. We have to see where to tolerate, how to tolerate. So that mostly when elders are there, we should tolerate. That's what I told her. Most of the time when we tolerate the elders, it's okay. But the tolerance is, it depends on the situation and circumstances, how it is, Prabhuji. It is not that tolerance is a dynamic process of the devotional service, and we have to see. Suppose somebody is doing atrocities, and then they are the bhakti, and they are having a sexual relationship with somebody else, extramarital relationship. We should not say no. We should tolerate. No, we should go and tell them, Prabhuji, we should not do it. But we have to correct them. It is very important. So tolerance is up to a certain limit. We have to see the how much tolerate. Tolerate is a dynamic word, Mataji. Is Prabhuji. Okay, whatever happening to us, we should tolerate, but to a certain extent. If it goes beyond certain limits, then we have to correct them. We have to tell them this is not correct. You are exceeding the limits, and you are giving me, and I am going beyond my tolerance limit. You should tell him very clearly and correct. Okay, Prabhu. So don't allow anybody to bully you. No, that is Krishna never allowed. And that's why, Arjuna told, no, I don't want to fight with these people. I want to go and beg. He said, no. Krishna corrected him. Where from you Eclabium, you are important. Why you are doing like this? Why you want to go to the forest and beg? You are a Kshatriya, you should fight. Krishna would have told, no, I will fight for you. No, Krishna said you have to fight. So that's why in that case, Krishna said, don't tolerate this, whatever they have done. Krishna said you have to fight the battle. So we have to use our discretion and circumstances, Prabhuji. A dynamic tolerance is a dynamic principle. We should see what is the circumstances based on which we should apply. Okay, it's not a static principle where we apply only on all. I know, like it is varies. Is it okay, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Pankaj Prabhuji, it's okay.
Pankaj Prabhu?
I think there's some problem with some communication problem. So
Yeah,
we'll close the day for today, Prabhuji. Thank you for giving us a session. Thank you for tolerating us and answering all the questions.
No. Actually, all the questions are challenging, and I thank all Tripti Mataji, Pankaj Prabhu, and other devotees, Nishu Prabhu, all the devotees. Excellent questions. These questions are really very, very good, because unless you are asked the question inquisitively curious, yesterday the Kachakar Prabhu was told, no, this is the way to attract Krishna's mercy. Okay, the more we are inquisitive means we are focused on the class. So Mataji was focused, Pankaj Prabhu was focused, Nishu Prabhu was focused, everybody was focused. So no problem. Anytime you can, whatever limited knowledge, little knowledge, mustard seed value of knowledge I have. The world is the knowledge, the spiritual knowledge. But I have got 1/1 millionth of the mustard seed knowledge of devotional service. So that I will try to explain whatever realizations I have. That's all. Okay. Please pray for me, that I pray to all the Vaishnavas assembled here. Please pray for me that I should become a devotee like all of you. Please pray for me. I'm still struggling to become a devotee.
Please bless us so that we can also taste Srimad Bhagwatam like you told. We could able to read and we could able to realize at least 1% what you have. Yeah,
please read Bhagavatam. Krishna will reveal. Enlightenment, no, Atma Pridipaya. So Nama Atma Pridipaya means he will enlighten you. The more we go to Bhagavatam with inquisitiveness, he will explain, he will reveal. Krishna will reveal. Swayameva Swaradhyataha. Okay?
Yeah. Sorry, Tripti Mata, you can go ahead if you want to add something, or we can close this.
Thank you, Prabhuji, and please pray for us also that we become a pure devotee.
Yes, Mataji. Okay. First, Mataji, pure devotee is a long way to go. I don't know. Actually, one Prabhuji was sharing with me that he was telling me that one time he was traveling with Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj, Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj, a disciple of Prabhupada. And he asked the Guru Maharaj, so what is the way to advance in Krishna consciousness and become a pure devotee? Then Bhakti Vikas Swami said, do you know what is meant by pure devotee? Pure devotee doesn't exist as you see. Pure devotees are very rare. Manushyanam Sahasreshu. So we forget about pure devotion, Mataji. First, let us do the devotion now, and then pure devotion will come automatically. Because that is the highest stage of bhakti. That is pure bhakti, prema bhakti. So that is bhava bhakti. That means we are not absorbed in material things. Okay. Let us have bhakti, then that will mature into pure bhakti automatically. Let us pray for that. Okay. Please don't mistake me, Mataji. Just we will go step by step. I said, Shanai.
Yes,
Okay, Mataji.
Prabhuji.
Understood, no?
Prabhuji, then what pranam?
That was pronounced, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Very good question, Mataji. Tripti Mataji. Pankaj Prabhu, thank you very much for a wonderful question.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji. Thank you
Krishna.
for giving us association.
Yes,
So we can close for today, Prabhuji.
yes, Prabhu. That was pronounced.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu
Kripa
bhaiya
Sindhu
vacha.
Devacha, Patitanam Pavnebhyo,
Patitanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo,
vaishnavebhyo
Ananda
ananta
Kodi
koti
Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Srila
Prabhu, Anu
Prabhupada ki.
Prabhu, thank you very much for sharing the presentation. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
No,
That
no
was very
problem.
helpful. And share the presentation with all the devotees so that they
Yeah,
can go
sure.
through it.
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji.
And you can add
12
this
verses.
8310, Prabhu. You can add this
Yeah,
8310 also. 8310
yeah,
you
sure.
can add. And
Yeah,
what you can do is, I'll send you some list of verses. What
yeah,
are all the
Prabhuji.
verses I will tell you, and you can put
Yeah,
it in this PowerPoint presentation and share with all the devotees. Okay?
yeah, sure, Prabhuji.
And I
I will
will
do.
send a recitation by my wife
Yeah,
by
sure.
message to you. Okay?
Yeah,
Or
sure. Sure.
12 verses are there. 12.
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Kantaraj ki jai. Thank you.
Srimad Bhagavatam Grantha ji ke Srila Guru
So,
Ananta
jai.
Kodi Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Srivinda ki jai.
Wonderful. Sorry for extending the time, bro.